Thank you. Welcome, and my name is Rockie Yang. My goal is forever young. Sorry, but that's not my goal, that's my wish. You can see from the picture, my hair is already shrinking. So my goal actually is design products with a smooth end-to-end experience. I'm currently working at the Tele2 as a freelancer, and what I'm building there is this. And this is the commission management system. The whole logic is here, and this is all the secret. And we are close to 80% done. The topic today is I'm going to show is that avoid the 7 traps in the data project. In my past 20 years experience, I have observed many traps happening. Some of them I see my colleagues fail off. I cannot stop. And sadly, quite some of them I fail myself as well. I will share my observation from the last couple years of big data and machine learning project. And the way is try to separate facts and opinions, and hope this will give 50 cents for you. So facts is something that we can test out, and it can be verified, and it's universal. But opinion is that something we believe, and it might be true, might be false. Everyone have different opinions. But facts and opinions are often blended together, especially in our dynamic space of big data and machine learning project. So it's very easy to falling off the traps by taking an opinion as an effect. So let's start with the first one. And we all know that 1 + 1 is equals 2, right? Not necessary. That's only true in math. In real world, it's most likely not 2. Let's take a metaphor. Produce a baby take 10 months. And how about we want to improve this? Let's say take 5 months. We get an obvious solution. Hire another woman. Then we'll get in 5 months. And that's sarcastic, right? But that's happened very often in our projects. If you want fast, hire another person. And so how much do we really get from 1 to 1 then? It can be anything. It can be 1. It can be 0.5. I did not put a 0 in. It could be 0. But what we want is not 1 or 0.5. We want 3. The tricky issue is that the result of 1 + 1 is not in the equation itself. It's in the detail of 1 and 1. It can be anything. So the trickiest thing is that the 1 + 1 is not 2 most of the time. And the second one, 80% is close to 100%. And we often hear that. Our project is 80% finished. So is that true? It's kind of true, because 80% is 50% of 100%. But what is the 100%? And the space we know are changing. 100% can sometimes this large, sometimes can be huge. And over time, when we know more, then 100% will be getting bigger and bigger. So 80% is not really nearly finished, never even close. Now the third one. Last year, I formed a team and built data lab solutions because in last couple of years, I have seen many solutions. I see that it's suboptimal. I can build much better, and I fell into traps as usual. And I share with you one of them. And it's nice to have more features, right? Anyone disagree? That's good. So it's not nice to have new features. Absolutely not nice to have new features. Before making the existing feature 100%, adding more features is just an excuse. You are not good enough to making the existing feature better. So just add more features. So the solution we made has a lot of features. We try to think of what features we possibly use, and then we add into it. So the features is like this. I think you possibly cannot read. I even cannot read myself. So we, for example, have the notebook environment, Jupyter Hub integrated. We have the graph database, Neo4j, they have booths there. And we have tried to integrate the use case of Customer 360. And we have like a Minio to simulate what S3 is. And we have quite some like Spark cluster management. Because before I worked at HM, and we're using Databricks. And Databricks on Azure, they take roughly 2-3 minutes to spin up a new cluster. And someone from HM can verify that if it's still the case now. So that is too slow, right? How can spin up a cluster take 2 minutes or 3 minutes? So we should optimize it. So we do it, and we make it 20 seconds compared to 2 minutes. Very good, right? Then we try to promote to prospects, and we had lots of meetings. After meetings, and they only say good about it. It's excellent, very good feature, but no deal was signed. So we only get meetings, and I would say we not even get lots of comments like where you should improve. Because the reason actually is we have too much features. And so much features we cannot really even, or people don't think that we are able to polish that much feature in that short time for such a small team. So they have meetings, but they don't really believe in us. So no sign. Nice experience though, that I fell into this trap and adding more features and more features. So I tried, I think, like 20 each feature built into there. If I look up at my GitHub page, I have more than 200 repos. These are all the technologies I try to experience, I try to test it, I try to integrate it. So this is that more feature is a fact, but the more feature equals less polished. And that's my opinion. It could be more polished as well. And the fourth one, we often hear that when we design a system, we want a certain extension point. We want extension point so that later on we'll use it when we add some new features. And I see over and over again, most of them never get used. So extension point is they designed in the beginning that Here is a 1, there is 1. So to me, that unused extension point is a burden. I don't know if have anyone heard of this fizz buzz yet. Have anyone heard of fizz buzz? Cool. So some of have not heard it, so I will just walk through. So for the number from 1 to 100, if this number able to divide by 3, print the fizz. If number able to divide by 5, print the fuzz. If able to divide both, print fizz fuzz. Otherwise, print the number. And there is this GitHub repo. You should really look up. If you know about like design pattern, they have certain much more design pattern built into this solution of solve this one. I looked up yesterday evening to see this repo, and it has 87 files, and it's written in Java. And it's roughly around 2,500 rows. And I have seen that in our previous solution that we use in Kubernetes. So I looked up Kubernetes as well, how many rows Kubernetes has. Certainly, it's not that many. I think less than 50,000 in the core repo. But the whole repo I heard is much more than 1 million rows. In case you are using Kubernetes, so a question to ask is that how many extension points do you use? So my solution to extension point is that if I develop it, I will think about extension point, but really not add them. So the extension point is only in the brain, but not in the implementation. The fifth one, especially in big data or in the machine learning, we often heard that the system is too slow. So too slow, what the solution can be, right? Let's add more machine. It will getting faster, right? Not necessarily. It might getting slower. So because when you distribute it, you add one more node, there is communication cost. When the communication cost overtake the performance the other node add, it will getting slowed down. And there is another, it's easier solution, then it's get a bigger machine. That actually can be true. Usually it cannot make it slower, not faster still though. And the good part about cloud era is that we can always test out. If it's too slow, I spin up a bigger one, I test it. If not, I shut down. But I think the better solution actually is not of either distributed or bigger one. It's first ask and figure out why it is slow. And even a better answer you can get if you can do it is how fast it can potentially be. If you know that answer, then you optimize it, then you know everything. So fast, slow, or on second level, that's fact. It's too slow, actually, is an opinion, because slow, fast is a relative concept. So number 7, when I build, number 6, sorry. When I'm building this, we have a debate that which API flavor to use. So, and this one is that the newer is not necessarily better, not always, not necessarily. And the newest boy in this space is GraphQL. is GraphQL is so fancy. If you look at it, this color is really nice, right? And there is a company behind it. It's really drive hard. Just like Halloween is coming and the people is driving Halloween hard, or companies. So if it's Halloween is good, then Christmas, I don't know. And the rest is a veteran. It's already existed for decades. And it's basically just have create, read, update, and delete on each single resources and map to HTTP. But in order to convince the colleagues, I have to do more study. So I give a real shot another time. So I implemented. I basically just implemented. If you want GraphQL, I implement for you. How good is, then you can compare. But I do get a nice answer because GraphQL, the company now behind it called Apollo. If that GraphQL does not need using Apollo, and not necessary, and it's don't use Apollo, it will be much easier. By the way, this repo is on GitHub. If you like, you can check it out. It has GraphQL and gRPC implemented. Because the rest is too easy, and I just don't put it there. My time is pretty close, so I can leave a few minutes for exchange opinion. I think exchange fact is not that necessary. So what I want to say is 1 plus 1 is fact. 2 is fact. 1 plus 1 is not necessarily equals 2. That's become an opinion. And the more feature or less polished, polished even can be an opinion. So 50% finished is not necessarily more than 50% finished. Depends on who's talking about it. So don't take the number too literally. And don't build more extension point if not necessary. And slow, faster, bigger, small is all relative. It can be anything. And newer is not better than old, or old is not better than new. Before making decision, you can ask again, is that a fact or is that opinions? And what I want to build is something like a smooth experience. It's a single band. There are extension points, but the extension point is inside, only in mind, not implemented. Some might exposed, and we should never fall into traps.